Respected friends, co-sadhakas, patience is the key in spiritual unfoldment along with consistent application. May we all, by God's grace, possess it throughout our spiritual journey till we reach our destination. Let us have today too all our classes of chanting Taittiriya Upanishad, Yoga Darshanam, Mundaka Upanishad, Gita, Bhagavatam, 12th Skandha, Markandeya Charitra, Stuti is over. We'll see today Bhagavan's blessings to Markandeya ji. Then we'll have our Dashama Skandham, Lord Krishna's Leelas, Bhaumasura is eliminated. Now the Vivaha with all 16,000 Kanyas today. In our Dashamaha Vidyas, today we'll see the seventh one, Mother chanting. Let us start the day with our Madhuvata Ucharana for 6 times with all devotion, truly feeling that everything should be Madhu Madhu in our life, around us, everywhere. Start. ॐ मधुवातारुतायते मधुक्षरन्ति सिन्धवः माध्वीर्नः सन्तोषधीः मधुनक्तमुतोषसि मधुमत्पार्थिवगं रजः मधुद्यौरस्तु नः पिता मधुमान्नो वनस्पतिर्मधुमागम् अस्तु सूर्यः माध्वीर्गावो भवन्तु नः ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ मधुवातारुतायते मधुक्षरन्ति सिन्धवः माध्वीर्नः सन्तोषधीः मधुनक्तमुतोषसि मधुमत्पार्थिवगं रजः मधुद्यौरस्तु नः पिता मधुमान्नो वनस्पतिर्मधुमागम् अस्तु सूर्यः माध्वीर्गावो भवन्तु नः ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ मधुवातारुतायते मधुक्षरन्ति सिन्धवः माध्वीर्नः सन्तोषधीः मधुनक्तमुतोषसि मधुमत्पार्थिवगं रजः मधुद्यौरस्तु नः पिता मधुमान्नो वनस्पतिर्मधुमागम् अस्तु सूर्यः माध्वीर्गावो भवन्तु नः ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ मधुवातारुतायते मधुक्षरन्ति सिन्धवः माध्वीर्नः सन्तोषधीः मधुनक्तमुतोषसि मधुमत्पार्थिवगं रजः मधुद्यौरस्तु नः पिता मधुमान्नो वनस्पतिर्मधुमागम् अस्तु सूर्यः माध्वीर्गावो भवन्तु नः ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ मधुवातारुतायते मधुक्षरन्ति सिन्धवः माध्वीर्नः सन्तोषधीः मधुनक्तमुतोषसि मधुमत्पार्थिवगं रजः मधुद्यौरस्तु नः पिता मधुमान्नो वनस्पतिर्मधुमागम् अस्तु सूर्यः माध्वीर्गावो भवन्तु नः ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ मधुवातारुतायते मधुक्षरन्ति सिन्धवः माध्वीर्नः सन्तोषधीः मधुनक्तमुतोषसि मधुमत्पार्थिवगं रजः मधुद्यौरस्तु नः पिता मधुमान्नो वनस्पतिर्मधुमागम् अस्तु सूर्यः माध्वीर्गावो भवन्तु नः ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः ॐ निधये सर्वविद्यानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् ॐ भवयेव भवानिति मे नितरां समजायत चेतसि कौतुकिता मम वारय मोहमहाजलधिं भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम् ॐ ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधि साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तन्नमामि ॐ परब्रह्मणे श्रुतिमात्रे समस्तब्रह्मविद्याचार्येभ्यो ऋषिभ्यो मुनिभ्यो गुरुभ्यो देवताभ्यो नमः। ओम श्री वेदव्यास वैशंपायने आग्नेवल्क्य आद्य शंकरादि गुरुभ्यो नमः। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। तेषां सर्वेषां कृपा अनुग्रहेण उपनिषदुक्त ब्रह्मात्मैक्यबोध सिद्ध्यर्थं सनातनधर्मस्य वैदिक हिन्दव संस्कृतेः पुनरुत्थान जागरण विश्वव्याप्ति द्वारा विश्व आध्यात्मिक प्रगति द्वारा विश्व शांति कल्याण एकता प्राप्त्यर्थं ये भक्ताः अस्मिन् कार्ये निश्चिताः तेषां सदा निर्विघ्नेन दिग्विजय प्राप्त्यर्थं श्रीकृष्णयजुर्वेदान्तर्गत तैत्तिरीय उपनिषदः श्री आद्यशंकर भाष्य समेत अध्ययनं वयं सर्वे करिष्यामहे। ॐ यस्मात् जातं जगत् सर्वं यस्मिन्नेव प्रणीयते येनेदन्धार्यते चैव तस्मै ज्ञानात्मने नमः। येरिमे गुरुभिः पूर्वं पदवाक्यप्रमाणतः व्याख्याताः सर्ववेदान्ताः तान् नित्यं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। तैत्तिरीयकसारस्य मयाचार्यप्रसादतः विस्पष्टार्थरचयिनां हि व्याख्येयं सम्प्रणीयते। ॐ शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ स यश्चायं पुरुषे यश्च सावादित्ये स एकः स य एवं विद अस्माल्लोकात् प्रेत्य एतमन्नमयमात्मानमुपसङ्क्रामति एतं प्राणमयमात्मानमुपसङ्क्रामति एतं मनोमयमात्मानमुपसङ्क्रामति एतं विज्ञानमयमात्मानमुपसङ्क्रामति एतमानन्दमयमात्मानमुपसङ्क्रामति तदप्येष श्लोको भवति। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। Friends, we are seeing the Ashtama Anuvakam. So, just to browse through what was the discussion. Sayaschayam Purushe Yascha Savaditye Sa Ekaha Saya Evam Vit Asmat Lokat Pretya Edam Annamayam Atmanam Upasankramati. So, once that was told, this Namarupe Savitari Ahoratri Iva Kalpite Na Paramarthata Vidyamane. So, this crucial topic of that even the Vidya and Avidya are not the dharma of the Paramatma Tattva, because they are the objectifiable aspects that we know that we don't know, that avidya, we know that we know the vidya. Here not vidya means Brahma Vidya, but generally knowing something, not knowing something. Therefore, what is said here is Just like the Rupa Nama are objects of the self, the consciousness, so too these mm, Vidya, Avidya also are the objects of the self, therefore they are not the dharma of the Paramatma. That is how Paramatma is even beyond all the knowable, known or even unknown. Iti cha Shrutyantaratu te cha punaha nama rupe savitari ahoratri iva kalpite na paramarthata vidyamane. So they are not truly in the self, just like a very good example of in Bhagavan Surya, there is no night possible. The opposite of night is day. There is no day possible. Both of them are experienced by us who are other than Bhagavan Surya. For us, they may be valid, but in the pure Surya, they are not valid. In the same way, Jiva with the upadhi of the intellect, he can have the vidya of something and the avidya of the other thing. But the pure Paramatma who illuminates all of that, to him the vidya, avidya are objects only, they are not touching him. Then another question asked was Abhede evam anandamayam upasangramati iti karma kartrutva anubhavati iti cheta. So if there is no bheda of any sort in pure oneself, how come the upasankramati is said? Because upasankramanam is possible. Upasankramanam, movement, change, obtaining, going is possible only when there is bheda between the one who is going and the place which is gone to, or the person who is knowing and the one which is known, or the thing which is obtained and the person who has obtained. So the Upasankramanam word Shruti Mata used. How do you deny that? That was the Purva Pakshi's Prashna. We have seen the Uttara, which is so important for throughout the life to kept in mind. Ki Vijnana Matratvad Sankramanasya. Finally, the Upasankramanam is not something which is not obtained or which is in distance of time or place, but only it is, though the word used by Shrutimata is Upasankramanam, that must be understood as through all the logics developed so far, only as a Vijnana Matra. So, the very important thing that is driven into our hearts is the realization of the self is through the jnanam. The self realization or the moksha, getting liberated from all bondages, is not a phala of any of the karma, all not an object to be gained which is other than us in a distance or in a time. Very careful it is. We are eternally already that self only. But then, as said, it was avidya is the one which is not allowing us not only to know the self, it was the avidya kruta, all the panchakosha and panchakosha tadatmya that we were in the bondage. It's only a question of knowing and abiding in it. Here it is a knowing. Knowing is not a karma. जो है उसको जानना है. तो विज्ञान मात्रत्वाद संक्रमणस्य. तो इसलिए वैसा न जलूका आदिवत संक्रमणम यह उपदिश्यते. So here the upasankramana is not teaching us the crossing of distances like that jaluka, the caterpillar or something. Kim tarhi vijnana matram sankramana shrutehe arthaha. It is only the pure knowledge about the reality as we are is the one which is the meaning of this sankramanam. And we saw yesterday, very important, here the Vijnana, Annamayam, Pranamayam, Manomayam, Vijnana, Anandamaya, Atmanam, Upasangramati said, there the meaning of each of the koshas Upasankramanam means what? The two things we discussed. One is always from the Vyashti to the Samashti. So here the individual Annamaya to the total Annamaya we identify. So to individual Prana to the total Mana, Buddhi and Ananda. Thereafter from the Annamaya we transcend to the Prana subtle level in the totality. From the Prana, Mano, Vijnana, and there, though Anandamaya is our Ananda Brahma is our goal, he is found through the Vijnana Gufa. So there, by inquiring, who is this Drashta, Shrota, Manta, Vijnata? In that question, instead of answering it again in any words or thoughts, when we just try to see it or feel it, we discover that it is me. It is the real Shuddha Chaitanya Sarupa Parama Atma. That is how the experience of I. Either way, who am I? That question is asked, or who is the one who in that Vijnanamaya Guha becoming Drashta, Shrota, Manta, Vijnata. Both questions lead to an experiential answer. It is not an intellectual. Intellectually, we already said 1,000 times. It is the Chidabhasa beyond which is the Shuddha Chaitanya. But has this knowledge liberated us? No. Why? Because it is only intellectual idea. That never liberates. Experience only liberates us. So on the dhyana avastha, when that question is asked, so instead of searching for an intellectual answer, we just try to see it, feel it, we experience that. This is how through in this way Vijnana Matra Upadesha is here. So both ways. Brahman alone is ultimate reality. And on the Brahman alone, the Samashti Panchakoshas are superimposed. And from the Samashti, the Veshti also are imagined. So both the Veshti Samashti are only imaginations. And yet, from the Veshti to the Samashti we go, there again from the gross to the subtle we go. And there the subtlemost, when we go beyond, then we see the experience of the self. Oh, this is what it is. Then, Mukhyameva Sankramanam Shruyete Upasankramati iti Chet, we have seen this. The Annamaya Upasankramanam is said. If the Sankramana means the traveling, where the self is or the jiva is, if he has to come from somewhere else into Annamaya, he is always in the Annamaya kosha. Therefore, Annamayam Upasankramati is as if he has gone somewhere else and comes back. He doesn't go and come. If he goes, the body collapses only. So he is always here in the Annamaya. Therefore, here Upasankramanam is not coming from somewhere else. But the Manomaya and Vijnanamaya, they go and they come. Manomaya and Vijnanamaya, they go and come. So, this Manomaya, Vijnanamaya is the self only. Self has no going and no coming at all. It is all pervading infinite. Also, without answering the first one, Annamaya, you are trying to ask the other two ones. So too, you can never answer Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya, going and coming. But even for Anandamaya, Shrutimata used the same sentence, Etam Anandamaya Matmanam Upasankramati. So to the Mano Vijnanamaya, you give the meaning of going and coming. And to the Annamaya, and you can't answer. To the Anandamaya, you can't answer. So in a different, confused manner, you are there, O Purabakshi. Therefore, all that is wrong. Here, therefore, don't try to go by literal dictionary meaning the word upasankramanam. It is not travel, it is not karma, karma prapta vastu. It is only the vijnanam. So this is what is said here. Thereafter, therefore, parisheshyat is the important thing to repeat, which we are just going through again. Parisheshyat means what? Therefore, what is the final thought one has to gather? With so much of discussion done is Annamayadi Anandamayananta Atma Vyatirikta Kartrukam Jnanamatram cha Sankramanam Upabadyate. सो अन्नमय से लेकर आनंदमय तक जिसको हमने आत्मा माना उसको व्यतिरेक करने वाला, उसको रिजेक्ट करने वाला, टोटली उसको आत्म दृष्टि से एलिमिनेट करने वाला विज्ञान ही विज्ञान ही विज्ञान ही हियर द उपसंक्रामति or संक्रमणम in this way it is meant. So संक्रमणम उपपद्यते ज्ञानमात्रम च संक्रमणम उपपद्यते. So by saying this once again Bhagavan Shankara reminding us अन्नमयादि आनंदमय अंत आत्म व्यतिरिक्त कर्तृकम, इन सबको हमने अब आत्मा मानकर बैठे हैं, उसको व्यतिरिक्त करना, दे आर नॉट सेल्फ, दे आर ओनली सीन बाय मी. कर्तृकम, that which establishes the not selfness with the panchakoshas, with which we have a very strong bhavana of self. That is what is the vijnanam, that is the meaning of sankramanam here. So therefore, let us not imagine that realization is in some time after 10-20 lives or at some place when we go to Swarga Adi or through some activity of yajna and upasana. All these meanings have to go away from our heart as regard the moksha is concerned. What we have to have? As long as I am in this Panchakosha Tadatmya, even if I become Brahmadeva by virtue of my various punya and upasana, I still will be a jiva bound even as being Brahma with so much power one side. No, he is a Srushtikarta. How much of Brahmadeva's work and greatness. Yet he is a jiva because the upadhyon का अभी भी आत्म तादात्म्य है. Therefore, even Brahmadeva, if he is in that condition, he will have to have the Upasankramanam, in other words, the Vidya or Vijnanam. So, even then, after listening all this, still, our mind, intellect, instead of gaining this Vijnanam, establishing in that Vijnanam, always maintaining that Vijnanam, and receiving this Vijnanam from the Shastra and the Guru, that these Panchakoshas am not, this knowledge is what is kept away or denied. Everything else we do, this main thing we don't do. That is the power of avidya, power of moha, power of maya. When we try to do that, you see, it appears as if our base is taken away and we will be nowhere having support to stand if annamayadi koshas are removed. As we said the other day, like the addict for the drinks or drugs or the smoking or anything, when you ask him to leave that, it is so impossible for him. He thinks, I cannot live without. And so to somebody, the boy and girl, somehow that infatuation. Tell, chodo usko bhul jao. He says, I cannot live without him or her. See that moha, how powerful. Tell that person how long you go on earning money. Abhi rok do, bahut aa gaya. He says, I cannot, I have to earn only. So every one of us are in one or the other very powerful, strong vyasana, which has no meaning, which when given up, everything becomes good only, beautiful only. So to the youth having the wrong friends, going for the wrong programs or things, is it not? In the same way, the Panchakosha Tadatmya is so strong, we are settled in it. When we are told that they are not you, you are the pure Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, we ask, can we get Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma along with the Panchakosha? Because we don't want to leave the Panchakosha. नहीं नहीं बाबा, उनको छोड़ के मिलेगा तो हम नहीं छोड़ेंगे, ये दोस्ती, प्यार दम तोड़ेंगे लेकिन नहीं छोड़ेंगे प्यार. In that way, from many lives, by living like this, it has become a habit. Like for Hindus, from 1,000 years, always becoming submissive and subordinate to all the dushtas. When they are told, now, yeah, you are such a great religion, you regain your glory. If that is said, because they are habituated to that slavery, they don't come out of that stupor slumber only. होने दो, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Anyway, God is everywhere there. In everyone, there, Bhagwan alone is there. So conveniently, because of that lethargy and laziness, and the habit of being suppressed for so many thousand years or so, that has become as if a habit. They use all their vocabulary, arrogance only to deny the reclaiming of the glory of Sanatana. विचित्र है, very विचित्र है ना. Those who oppose the mm, bringing up of the Sanatana Dharma in the political front, 95% are Hindus only. Where are the other people there? 95 तो वही है, बट देखो बेवकूफ़ है उनका. एक तो पॉलिटिकल गेन होता है, दूसरा है दिस इज द थिंग. चल रहा है, कोई नहीं बात. In the same way, it has become a habit for us to live only as Panchakosha. Therefore, we don't accept easily. But there is no other way also. By no other way, in keeping identity intact with the Panchakosha, then we are going to experience the moksha sthiti. This we have to keep in our heart very strongly. Then, consequence of that understanding is, therefore, that self which is experienced, having transcended the Panchakosha, I will experience. For that, I am ready to sacrifice. Walking on the ground is normal, but then jumping from the helicopter, everybody cannot dare. But the joy of really jumping from it and flying in the air for some times in the huge akasha, then opening the parachute, it's a joy of its own. Nobody can explain that joy. So too, if that accident does not happen, going in the submarine beyond within the waters and seeing all the aquatics there is a extraordinary feat. On the ground, normal it is to walk. Same way, living at the Panchakosha level is okay. Means it is habitual. But only a Kaschit Dhira Pratyagatma Namayiksham, only few rare beings are there who have the courage to go beyond and live at the Ham Brahmasmi level. How much ever we say that is moksha sthiti, that is shashvata sthiti, that is ananda sthiti, they will listen everything, they nod head. But finally, when it comes to the living, actually the life practicing, they say, no, no, we are comfortable here. Another mischievous Maya is what you and I, we are discussed here about. Ki we will attend classes, we will listen is, we will tali bajao for all this knowledge, we endorse it. But we ourselves are asked, therefore, keep away all annamayadi kosha, tadatma yukta jivana shaili, and live life only through meditation to realize the self. वी आर नॉट हैप्पी. नहीं नहीं नहीं, क्लास में तो आ रहे हैं, सुन रहे हैं, समझ रहे हैं ना, हमको इतना काफी है. सुबह 4 बजे उठ के ध्यान करो, नहीं नहीं नहीं, शाम को कर सकते, सुबह नहीं. So these are the very thickly made, strongly made, that what do you call that, dirt in our personality layer, that has to be warded off. Who can do that? What can do that? Nobody from outside can do it. Is it not? From within, everyone will have to sit and scratch. That is what is done in the Mananam Nidhi Chintana. After Shravanam, when we are supposed to do the Mananam, in Mananam, what is done, what is achieved is this feat only. That very thick layers of this delusion, which force us to live only at the Upadhi level, they have to be washed or removed. बहुत बहुत मुश्किल होता है, लोग करते भी नहीं. पहली बार करना शुरू करो तो जाता ही नहीं मैल. For some time it appears it's true, but again the fears come. No, if I don't live at the Annamayadi level, then what about all the world and all that? Again, some or the other fears come, then we immediately settle into Dehosmi Bhava. We have to recognize this. This is what it is happening in us. This is what is to be rectified or changed. Every day, I can live as the self beyond Panchakosha. I must live as the self beyond the Panchakosha. I will live as the self beyond the Panchakosha. This is what. This is what are the teachings that are given in Sanskrit, which we don't understand in that tone because we don't know Sanskrit. Whether it is said Tattvamasi, the Upadesha Vakya, whether it is the Anubhava Vakya, Aham Brahmasmi, or whether it is the Shukadev ji giving Parikshit ji, the last teaching of what it is, you remember? Aham Brahma, Parandhama, Brahmaham, Paramam Padam, Aham Brahma, Parandhama, Brahmaham, Paramam Padam. This was the last teaching by Shukadev ji to Parikshit. यही बता रहे हैं that I will live as the self, not as Panchakosha. But then we have such a thick layer. That's what we have realized it now. Let us work on that. Keep some timings, morning, दोपहर, evening, sometime or night. कभी भी हो कुछ समय बैठकर वो मूड बनाकर we have to slowly tell to ourselves. When this is done for a long time, then the readiness, the willingness will come, hesitation will go away. After that only the real meditation of transcending the upadhi we can do. And then only the pure, infinite, blissful self is experienced. There is no other way. It is the way. So, in this way, mhm, mhm. So, this is what is seen. So, Parisheshyad Annamayadi Anandamaya Anta Atma Vyatirikta Kartrukam Jnana Matram Cha Sankramanam Upapadyate. सो अन्नमय आदि से आनंदमय तक जो हमने आत्मा माना उसको व्यतिरेक करने वाला ज्ञान ही यहाँ उपसंक्रमण का अर्थ है. ओके, देन ज्ञान मात्रत्वे च आनंदमयांतस्तस्य एव सर्वांतरस्य आकाशादि अन्नमयांतम कार्यम सृष्ट्वा अनुप्रविष्टस्य हृदयगृह अभिसंबंधातु अन्नमयादिषु अनात्मसु आत्मविभ्रमः संक्रमणेन आत्मविज्ञान उत्पत्त्या विनश्यति. तदेतस्मिन् अविद्याविभ्रमनाशे संक्रमण शब्दः उपचर्यते, नहि अन्यथा सर्वगतस्य आत्मनः संक्रमणम् उपपद्यते. It was such a wonderful thing, summarizing also, then answering the question toward the end. Finally, अंत में प्रश्न का उत्तर भी देना है और विषय का पूरा समराइज करना भी है. ये वाला पैराग्राफ में worthy of repeatedly studying. Therefore, though we saw yesterday, we just are going through, browsing through it once more. What it is, jnana matratvecha. When we interpret the Sankramana as Jnana Matra, it is correct. How This is the way. Iki Anandamaya Antastasya eva Sarvantarasya Akashadi Annamayantam Karyam Sruštva. That Brahman alone, who is there already inside from Annamaya to Anandamaya, that Brahman, what did he do? Sarvantarasya, who is inside everything, he did what? Akashadi Annamaya Antam Karyam Sruštva. That Brahman who now is there in all the koshas, about that Brahman we are discussing, that he is the one who right from the Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Jala, Prithvi, Oshadhi, Anna, Annarasa, Purusha, in this way, he is the one Sruštva, all these Anupravishtaha, he only entered. Then Hruday Guha Abhisambandhatu, having entered to these Panchakoshas, he entered into the Hridaya Guha. Then Annamayadishu Anatmasu Atma Vibhramaha. Having entered into the Hridaya Guha, he has got the Atma Vibhrama, the delusion of identifying with that one particular Annamaya Kosha, Annamayadi Kosha. This all will be valid. Then what happens then? What is the sadhana? It is said कि therefore Atma Vibhramaha जो बना है. So this is how Atma Vibhrama definition or explanation is given. That self alone creating Akashadi up to Annamaya. Then in that Annamaya, the other four koshas, entering into every one of them. In that Vijnana Guha, having gone there, from there, be attentive. Instead of remaining as himself, the self, he got what the word is here? Atma Vibramaha. As if he has forgotten himself, as if he has identified with the Panchakosha, as if he has become them. Then this Atma Vibramaha, Sankramanena, only removed. Therefore, see intelligently Shankara Bhagavan puts it, Sankramanena means Atma Vijnana Utpatya Vinashyati. Only by the Atma Vijnana that you need not identify the Panchakosha. You are inside every one of them as the self of them, supporting them, untouched by them. In fact, all that with which we were talking, that you are untouched, etc., they are all manifested by you only. So kamayata, bahusyam, prajayeya, satapotapyata. See that funniness here. Who is there is always Brahman. When he thought of creation, so kamayata bahusyam, he was good, expert in doing creation. He did the creation up to the Annamayadi koshas. Then he got enchanted. He just got an idea कि मेरा जो बनाया उसके अंदर जाके देखता हूँ. When he entered inside, he got so fascinated that he stayed there, identifying with only these panchakoshas. What about the other Panchakoshas? Whether the Samashti, I don't know about it, but I am happy with it. This is called as Atma Vibhramaha. The self deluded as if by identifying with one set of these Annamayadi. This is the samsara. This is the dukkha. So what is samsara is explained, what is the cause of dukkha is explained, how it has come that also is explained. More important is how to get liberated of it. Only one way, through Sankramana. And what is Sankramana, my dear? Not by traveling anywhere with the suitcase of your ignorance. That's why when somebody dies, he takes the suitcase with him. In that suitcase, the strong vasanas, habits, that I am the body, they are ready with him. That is why when he is given another body, he enters into that, only opens the suitcase to say, I am this. So with that suitcase of Dehaditadatma Vasana, whichever the body is given, there will be identified with the body and live life only at that level. We can never be liberated from those limitations. Then what to do for this Atma Vibrama removal? वही तो हम कह रहे हैं, that removal of the Atma Vibrama is called Sankraman. And how that Atma Vibhrama is removed? Only by the correct apprehension, knowledge of the self. Therefore, Atma Vijnanena eva Atma Vibhrama is removed. Therefore, what should be the meaning of Sankramanam then? Atma Vijnana only. There is nothing called of doing anything. There is nothing to be done. So, Atma Vibhramaha Sankramanena means what? Atma Vijnana Utpatya Vinashyati. There is no other way. कुछ भी करो no, because if this is not deeply understood na, we become every sadhaka, we do glorious great things, but not the main thing. Therefore we will get everything also, but not liberation. This is the crucial. Only the Upanishad has the clarity and guts to guide us in this manner, nothing else. Everything other than the direct experience of the self, every identity of ours, whichever the loka we go, whether it is an ant we are, or a human here we are, or any Yakshagandharva, or Deva Indradi Deva, or the Brahma Adi, wherever we are, when that Atma Vibhrama is there of the real self and identify with something or the other anatma, we are in ignorance, we are in bondage. The only way to get liberation is Atma Vijnana. Atma Vijnana Utpatya. So now see, conclusion. Tad etasmin avidya vibhramanashe sankramana shabda upacharyate. So that sankramanam is actually the Vijnanam. Through the Vijnanam, this avidya vibhrama, That the avidya is ignorance, vibhrama is delusion. Because of the ignorance, the delusion that I am Panchakosha, removal of that is meant by the Upasankramana. Don't take the meaning of doing physically something. No, when I am doing, I am a doer. When I am a doer, I am a karta. कर्ता को कर्म फल मिलकर भोक्ता बनेगा वो. He is bound only. Where is the question of liberation there? Therefore, तदेतस्मिन् अविद्याविभ्रमनाशे संक्रमणशब्दः उपचर्यते. So the Sankramana means avidya vibhramanasha through vidya, the Atma Vidya Jnanam. अन्यथा कि नहीं, अन्यथा सर्वगतस्य आत्मनः संक्रमणम उपपद्यते. Or else the self who is all pervading, where from where he will go, and he is one without second, all pervading, one without second self. How do you say that he does the upasankramanam? See, think about this. सर्वव्यापक परब्रह्म का कहाँ से कहाँ जाना होगा? उपसंक्रमण का अर्थ, if you take it is a movement in place or time with effort, not possible. So let that picture come in the mind to us. How much ever the experiences of the world appear to be real, how much ever the cause of all the experiences, that I am the Panchakosha Yukta Jiva appears to be real, but on the highest knowledge standpoint, this is the whole ignorance and delusion. Our aim should be this one. Ki I am the infinite self. I am just cocooned in one Panchakosha set out of ignorance delusion only. That is why the suffocation. That is why the suffering. That is why the limitations. That is why bondage. That is why miseries. Through this Sankramana named Atma Vidya, the Vibhrama, Atma Vibhrama, Avidya Vibhrama, that I am the Panchakosha, that has to be kept aside or eliminated. देखो कितना सूक्ष्म है ये बातें. Unless we become very सूक्ष्म in our अंतःकरण, this main thing is not caught. नहीं कैच किया ना, then there is no difference between a worldly person doing all upasanas, pujas for the sake of worldly gains only from the Lord, and there is no difference. But person who is studying all the Vedanta Shastra but not actually understanding the what is main sadhana and siddhi. फर्क ही नहीं होगा. We are also equally bound. We may proclaim that we are studying Shastra, it's a good work, पुण्य कर्म. कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता इससे. कितने भी नायम आत्मा प्रवचनेन लभ्यः न मेधया न होना श्रुते. Only with crystal clarity that it is Atma Vibhrama, because of which, though I am the Brahman, I am taking myself as Panchakosha and suffering. Only through the Sankramana is equal to Atma Vidya, Vijnana, that this avidya or some Brahma can go away, then I establish in my essential self, which is moksha. Otherwise, when everywhere the same Parabrahman is there, where it can go from where? अन्यथा सर्वगतस्य आत्मनः, सर्वगतः आत्मा, आत्मा हर जगह पे है. देन ऐसे ऐसा हर जगह पे रहने वाला आत्मा का संक्रमण कहाँ उपपद्यते? नहीं उपपद्यते. सो श्रुति माता ने कहा संक्रमा उपसंक्रामति. डिक्शनरी मीनिंग इज उपसंक्रामति इज गोइंग टू सम प्लेस in some time with some efforts. But don't take literal meaning. No, see the inquiry, see the possibility. Self being everywhere, how can it go from one place to the other? Then what is therefore meaning of Upasankranam is discovering that Aham Sachidananda Brahma, Satyam Jnananta Brahma, not this Panchakoshas. It is only realization. It is only the knowledge. It is only the Vidya. There is nothing to be done to be the self. Just through the Vidya, they reject the Vidya and establish in the Anubhuti, even Vidya also not required. इंटेलेक्चुअल विद्या भी जरूरत नहीं है टू रिमेन इन द सेल्फ. नहीं चाहिए. इंटेलेक्चुअल नॉलेज हो गया उसका जरूरत. That the intellectual knowledge was required to eliminate the avidya brahma. Thereafter, to be the self, what's required? Not required, nothing required. That is why the subject being so subtle appears to be abstract, appears to be not easily catchable or understandable. There is a many people having tried to understand, they fail to understand, then they think such thing is not there, all is just an illusion. That's what will be our next anuvaka actually. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. An intuitive intellect alone can grasp what is meant by it. Therefore, what is the ultimate sadhana? Just to be on the deepest level of meditation, after crossing all the layers of misunderstandings, wrong notions, misconceptions, wrong habits, vasanas, when these gates are transcended in the deep seat of meditation, वहाँ कुछ ना करने को होता है, ना कुछ जाने को होता है, ना कुछ पाने को होता है, ना कुछ खोने को होता है. फिर क्या होता है? जस्ट बी. There is no becoming, there is no going, there is no knowing, there is no doing, there is no coming, there is no getting, there is no losing. None of them doesn't work. Just be. Even at this moment also, if you can just be, we are realized. Because our essential nature is just being. The ing is added only to say in contrast with other ings of talking, walking. Just it is be only, not even being. On that be just self, so much of havoc by the projection of so many things. That's why in the nidra we are just be. That is why so much bliss. We don't become waker, don't become the dreamer. In the waker, we don't become this or that. Just we are. वो भी फिर अविद्या से तादात्म्य है, बट ये वाला तादात्म्य नहीं है, इसलिए आनंद. हम्म. Therefore, nahi anyata sarvagatasya atmana संक्रमण उपपद्यते. Therefore, तदेतस्मिन् अविद्या विभ्रमनाशे संक्रमण शब्द उपचर्यते. सो अविद्या विभ्रम को निकालने के लिए ये जो विद्या ज्ञान है उसी को यहाँ संक्रमण शब्द से बताया गया. संक्रमण मीन्स द अविद्या रिमूविंग विद्या, अज्ञान रिमूविंग ज्ञान. व्हाट इज अज्ञान? I have these panchakoshas. Therefore, what is vijnana ho gaya? What is sankramanam? I am not this. I am the self. And first intellectual, thereafter through meditation, experiential should be this thing. Now, again, vastu antah abhavat cha. Another reason for upasankranam doesn't mean traveling is vastu antar abhavaha. There is no other vastu other than Brahman. Earlier also same thing when it is said he is all pervading. So he is all pervading, where from where he can go. That was the discussion. Here there is no object other than him. Okay, to cross which he'll have to travel, etc. To know which, to gain which. वस्तु अंतर अभाव is a very beautiful high logic. है तो एक ही एकमेव अद्वयं ब्रह्म नेह नानास्ति किंचन. In that, what is that where the upasankramanam has to be done? Who is the one who has to do the upasankramana? How come there is any upasankramana? ये तीनों निकल जाते हैं वहाँ. Because there is no वस्तु, one only. वस्तु अंतर अभाव है. अंतर means other. See, that other word also from antara. Now, न च स्वात्मनः एव संक्रमणम. Again, he just substantiating it. कि into the self the संक्रमणम cannot be. Example, नहीं जलुका आत्मानमेव संक्रामति. And that जलुका is that जो खून चीसने वाला वो है ना, जो भी कहते हो आप उसको इंग्लिश में, लीच, नॉट लीची. लीची तो यू कैन ईट, नॉट द लीच. सो दैट लीच द मूवमेंट ऑफ इट. जलुका. सो नहीं, जलुका आत्मानमेव संक्रामति. Jaluka is not going into itself. It is going from one place to the other. For the Jaluka, there is something other than it to move. For the self, there is no something other than it in to move. Therefore, that a movement is arrested. So, outside movement is denied. Movement into the self is impossible. है कि नहीं? जब संक्रमण का अर्थ ट्रैवलिंग है, चलना या जाना, तो आप या बाहर जाएंगे या अंदर जाएंगे. बाहर जाने का तो चांस ही नहीं, बिकॉज़ देयर इज़ समथिंग अदर देन द सेल्फ. अंदर जाने का नहीं चांस है, बिकॉज़ सेल्फ कैन नॉट एंटर इंटू द सेल्फ. नो नीड, इट इज़ ऑलरेडी दैट. झल्लुका क्यों अपने अंदर जाएगा? वो अपने आप है. इट इज़ झल्लुका. सी दैट थिंग. Therefore, obviously, you have to understand that only the avidya covering us as if we are not the self. Vidya of the Brahman removes that covering or ignorance. When their ignorance was there also, that time I am self only. But that was not, that avidya was not allowing me to realize that self. This vidya I have gained to reject that avidya. So, in this way, tasmat, now the whole thing as we saw yesterday, once we browse through, just feel free in the mind, calm, quiet, just try to catch everything, which is the essence of what is being studied so far. Hmm. Ki tasmat, therefore, oh my dear students, oh my dear, all the Brahma Vidya bhaktas or sadhakas, hmm, therefore, satyam jnanam anantam brahma iti यथा उक्त लक्षण आत्म प्रतिपत्त्यर्थम एव. सत्यम ज्ञानम अनंतम ब्रह्म इति यथोक्त लक्षण आत्म प्रतिपत्त्यर्थम. सत्यम ज्ञानम अनंतम, इन जिन लक्षणों से बताया गया वो आत्मा है, उस आत्म प्राप्ति के लिए ही एंटायर हंगामा. Which sure we have said so far. And that Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma is always there as our own essential self. But through avidya it was covered. To remove that avidya and make us experience that aham satyam jnanam anantam brahma, the entire drama is played by the Shruti Mata. That was required because we are at that stage of totally forgetting our satyam jnanam anantam and living like a small panchakosha yukta jiva entity. So, what is the whole process? Summarizing. First, Pratipartyata eva bahubhavana. He never became many, he never thought, but we are seeing many. So, we have to start the story. So, Lord only Bhashyam prajayeya. So, kameta Bhashyam prajayeya. Then, bahubhavanam. Then, what kya hai? Sarga, tat sruštva. So Brahman alone is there in this process. Slowly, 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 he is appearing to be as you are seeing now. But all this is just avidya kruta only. In the past, we are Brahman. In the present, we are Brahman. In the future, we are Brahman. In places where I am now, there I am Brahman. Whichever the place I go, that also is Brahman. All this place, time, etc., every one of them also same Brahman. तो बहुभवन, सर्ग, प्रवेश, तदेवानुप्रावेश. So these are all prakriyas. So which when we travel, all the wrong coverings, notions brought by avidya, they are removed. Remove the avidya, be the self. Then what? Rasalabha, Abhaya Sankramana Adi, Abhaya, fearlessness. Then finally the Sankramana. Sankramana was exhaustive, discussed. Adi, Parikalpyate, Brahmani, Sarva Vyavahara Vishaye. So, Sarva Vyavahara Vishaye, for all these Vyavahara of sadhana, otherwise the Vyavahara of the samsara, for all of that, the Vishaya, the Adhara, the Ashraya is Brahman, on that Parabrahman, all these are Parikalpita. Therefore, so Kamayata, Jhut, Bhausyam, Jhut, Tapotapita, all Jhut, Tatsuštva, Jhut bhi, Anupravishatu, Jhut. Then, suffering, Jhut. Then to come out of it, meditation, उसमें जाकर रसलाभ को पाना और संक्रमण पाना, ये सब भी is only the undoing aspect of what is done. Otherwise, we are always the self. So, परिकल्पिते ब्रह्मणि सर्व व्यवहार विषये न तो परमार्थता निर्विकल्पे ब्रह्मणि कश्चिदपि विकल्पः उपपद्यते. So, in the निर्विकल्प ब्रह्म, nothing can be upakalpita. Nothing of the upakalpa or vikalpa can be real in that nirvikalpa Paramatma. Mhm. Like on the screen of the cinema hall or the TV, how many vikalpas are coming and going continuously, when that projector is working. कितना देखो, जंगल का सीन आता है, टाउन का सीन आता है, गांव का सीन आता है, जल के अंदर वाला, आकाश वाला, वन स्क्रीन ओनली. That nirvikalpa screen में none of these vikalpas are real, projected only. A playground is shown, a school or college is shown, an office is shown, a industry is shown, a business place is shown. ये गार्डन को दिखाते हैं हमको, प्लेग्राउंड, क्या क्या हो रहा है सारा on one screen, so much of vikalpa. But all these vikalpa on the screen are only projection, not real. So too on one pure substratum Parabrahma, the Panchamahabhuta Srushti, through that Panchabhautika Stula Jagat Srushti, then from that the Sukshma, Vyashti Srushti, and into that Paramatma entering, getting identified. एक विकल्प परमात्मा में एक्चुअल में नहीं है. But we are seeing it, therefore we need all this study and inquiry to remove it. तम एतम निर्विकल्पम आत्मानम एवं क्रमेण उपसंक्रम्य. In this way, that nirvikalpa parabrahma atma, who at the most can be told as satyam jnanam anantam brahma, in this paramatma ko evam kramena, in this sequence, mastering one step, as it is told by Shruti Mata, evam kramena viditva. Upasankramya means viditva. Now he is intelligently using the upasankramana, and to avoid the confusion, he is explaining it there and then. Upasankramya means viditva. Viditva na viveti kutaschana. He will not have fear from any source or reason. Then avayam pradishtam vindate. He will be in the avaya pratishta. No bhaya will be there at all to him. Okay. Iti, in this way, etasmin arthe api. Even to finally experience this also, एषः श्लोको भवति, quotation is there. And what is the glory of this particular Anuvaka summarizing everything is this one only, कि सर्वस्य एव अस्य प्रकरणस्य आनन्दवल्यर्थस्य संक्षेपतः प्रकाशनाय एषः मन्त्रः भवति. ऑल दिस ब्रह्मानंद वल्ली ब्रह्म वल्ली आनंद वल्ली का संक्षेप से वर्णन करने के लिए ये वाला आगे का मंत्र दिया जा रहा है. दी नाइन्थ अनुवाक. So, those who have risen to this level of deep contemplation, unmoved, unperturbed, undisturbed, unchanged, Parabrahma only will be there in their vision, and that is me. All else is delusion only, ignorance only, unreal only. He will not talk all other things. He is in the self only. So, what is that mantra which summarizes the entire Valli Brahmananda? We'll chant it today with Bhashyam. We do that then. Not today, tomorrow. Clear? Om yato vacho nivartante apraapya manasa saha anandam brahmano vidvan na bibheti kutaschaneti etagam havavana tapati kimagam sadhuna karavam किमहं पापमकरवमिति स य एवं विद्वानेते आत्मानग्गस्पृणुते उभैः वैष एते आत्मानग्गस्पृणुते य एवं वेद इत्युपनिषत्. ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. यतो वाचो निवर्तन्ते अप्राप्य मनसा सह आनन्दं ब्रह्मणो विद्वान् न बिभेति कुतश्च नेति कीर्तकं हवावन दवदे किमहगं साधुना करवं किमहं पापमकरवमिति स य एवं विद्वानेते आत्मानग्गस्पृणुते उभे वैष एते आत्मानग्गस्पृणुते य एवं वेद इत्युपनिषत्. ओम शांति शांति शांति. Upasankramanam is experiencing, knowing the self which is already there. It has nothing to do with any karma or karma pada. This should be enough today. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Paramashibhyo Parabrahmane Shrutimatre Tatsad Brahmatmavastu. Om 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 Om. Tomorrow we'll take up this last anuvak of this Valli. Then we enter into the sadhana part of Ananda Valli. Nahi, Bhurgu Valli. Yes, friends, today we'll stop here. Join in 2-3 minutes for the study of Yoga Darshan.